one. And now, live in studio, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. He's a successful entrepreneur, published author, top listing agent, a real estate and finance expert that goes to bat for you every day as a consumer advocate. Your host and the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes.
Yes, here we are again another day as your consumer advocate right here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, all about helping you win in any marketplace. That's our number one goal, and it's all about our radio family, our TV show family now on Apple TV, Amazon Fire TV, Roku, Sony TV, about 85 other outlets as well. Search up Binge Networks on to find us on those outlets. And 5 o'clock drive time, 1380 The Biz, weekend show, FM 102.5 The Bone. And we want to be your consumer advocate. Save our hotline number in your phone. At some point, you're going to need it, 813-670-7372.
You used to call me on my cell phone.
813-670-7372. Give us a call or a text. Save our hotline number in your phone. Also, bookmark consumerqb.com. You can see links there to all of our expert contributors on our website at consumerqb.com. And you can submit an email form as well. That email form will come directly through to myself and my team. And our promise to you is that we're going to get back to you before our head hits the pillow. We've had an uptick in calls lately. A lot of people reaching out, wanting to know more about, it's all about the things that we cover: finance, estate and tax planning, home services, lots of ways that we can help you here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. And we've got our expert contributors in studio. Fred Muth back in studio, a.k.a. the Tin Man, Tampa Screens and Aluminum. Welcome in.
Welcoming me and calling me the Tin Man. I love it. The Tin Man, I have to live up to that.
Yeah.
That was, the old movie with Danny DeVito, Richard Dreyfuss. They were selling aluminum siding back in the 60s.
Yeah.
Boy, they had a bad reputation.
Uh-oh.
Okay, my competition has a... Never mind. Just kidding.
Yeah.
No, we're all good. Everybody in the industry is very good. Very good at what we do.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. And we got Jay Smith, the Snoop Dogg, back in studio. Welcome in, sir.
Yep, Snoop Dogg's back. Been a little while.
Been a little while since you've been on the show, but still in our hearts. We're seeing you out there in the community all the time, and got your real estate support team going, and a lot of good things, man.
Just trying to dodge the raindrops.
Yeah, the liquid sunshine out there.
That's it.
That's right. So we got Snoop Dogg, A Snoop Inspections, a-snoop.com is the website, a-snoop.com. And two of our longtime expert contributors here on the show, thank you so much for supporting the show and, coming in and educating our listeners. You guys take time out of your busy schedule to come in and serve as a consumer advocate, so that's commendable.
Love being here. And it's good to see Fred again. It's been a little while since I've seen Fred.
Likewise. In your business... I think about it all the time. I did some inspections in my past, and it got to the point where I would walk into every building and just find everything wrong with it.
Just looking around.
Nothing looked correct. And, even brand new homes, I could see how they were out of tilt, out of plumb.
Yep.
I had to get away.
Yeah.
Smoke alarms are hanging by the wires and all kinds of fun stuff.
You look at the walls and you say, I know it's back there. It gets to you.
And you notice deferred maintenance. I mean, I do that all the time. I just look around if I'm at, amusement park or restaurant, wherever. I'm like, yep, there's deferred maintenance. I pointed out to Braylon, and kind of have her, keeping, kind of getting her mind in that mindset.
I guess somewhere along the line we have to disconnect.
Yeah, it's hard.
I haven't learned how to do that yet.
It's tough. You ever take a meditation class or anything, Fred?
I don't have time right now.
You got to make time for it.
Actually, I should. I do have my outlets. And there's things that I do to get me completely away from it.
Yeah. Fishing. Some people choose fishing. Some people do yoga. Some people...
I let the fish live.
Do you?
I don't mind eating them. I don't like catching them.
I'm going to go float down the Rainbow River on Saturday. So.
Oh, good. That's cool. It's been a while since I've done anything like that, but that's really fun, right?
On the tubes, right?
That's it.
I've done that. That's a lot of fun.
Some people carry like a little cooler with them or something, float the cooler down the river. And
right. There's no alcohol in there, though.
Okay.
Probably not.
There's not allowed to have that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You'll survive. You'll get by.
Yeah, so here we are on the Consumer Quarterback Show, all about helping you win. I want to invite you to the Tampa Home Show coming up on August 17th and 18th, Saturday and Sunday, 11 to 6. It's a really good time. People that come to the event, they always walk away with some knowledge. They walk away with giveaways, and they're signing up to find out more information about different folks that are at this event. Free admission all weekend, it says here, with the Tampa Convention Center. 333 South Franklin Street. Put on by East Coast Consumer Shows. They do a great job. Just a shout out to the whole team at East Coast Consumer Shows, Lori and her team. Tampa Home Show, August 17th and 18th. We're going to be there. We're going to have a double booth, and all of our expert contributors are invited as well. If they want to come and participate with that, we got tickets available for that as well. So here we are in studio. A couple of hot new listings. As you know, I'm the owner of the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. Just listed a hot property on the beach, 861 Mandalay Avenue on beautiful Clearwater Beach. This is a gorgeous home. We just took this listing yesterday, so this is a brand new listing. Just hit the market. And we repositioned it from when it last expired about 3 months ago, down over $100,000. The agent had priced it wrong. 861 Mandalay Avenue, Clearwater Beach, 2-bedroom, 2-bath property right on Clearwater Beach. Literally 200 steps, and you're in the sugar sand beaches of Clearwater Beach. I also got a hot property in Tampa, Schooner Way. This is another waterfront property that we have listed. And my wife, Lindsay, is a feng shui and interior design expert. She did a great job, completely renovated this property. We did a great job here in terms of picking out the modern look. Everything is a nice, light, refreshing look on the inside. Waterfront, 2-story home on a freshwater canal with the boat dock that leads out to the bay right here in Tampa Bay. It's 33615 zip code. I lived in that zip code for 15 years. Great place to be, hot property, and you're just literally a 5 to 7 minute drive to the airport. Hot real estate properties at PlatinumMVPTeam.com. All right, let's jump right into it. We got Fred Muth in the house. Tampa Screens in Aluminum. You guys are helping out designing that beautiful in-between space, shielding out the mosquitoes, and just, has some SPF contents there too. And
no doubt about it. It's, what a concept if you think about it. Where in the country can you go and find such a product? You really can't.
Yeah.
I mean, everywhere else they have patios, they have enclosed glass enclosures, etc., but they don't have these beautiful screen lanais. State of Florida, loaded with them. And, I'm really glad I'm in the business. I enjoy what I do. I can tell you that.
Yeah,
right
that's awesome.
But something that I haven't covered too often on the show is the restricted covenants and the deed restrictions, the bylaws that we have to abide by them in our business to get the approval to build such a product. And a lot of the homeowners, they balk about it, and they don't like the associations and filling out the forms and asking permission. But I tell them about my trip to Nassau one time. I got off the boat and I walked into town, and I looked around, and all the elevations were off. Roofs started and stopped where the roofer wanted to start and stop. Buildings were every color of the rainbow. Everything was built on top of one another. So that's the reason. Not to be.
Sure.
I don't want to exaggerate with that, but it's a true statement. If you didn't have such covenants and restrictions, and things didn't conform, it would look terrible.
Yeah.
Now, a lot of the communities that I work, and I'll give a couple of examples. Seven Oaks up in Wesley Chapel. Well, I started working that subdivision, that development community when it came out of the ground back in the 90s. One of the restrictions is all the enclosures had to be white aluminum, which is fine. It looks nice. But another restriction that they have is they do not accept aluminum roofs anywhere. Has to be all screen roofs. So a lot of people they didn't like that. So what they decided to do was have the aluminum roofs installed in underneath of the enclosure after the cage was built. And when the HOA challenged the homeowners, the challenge, basically the homeowners prevailed in the challenge. So now in that community, we're building them with the aluminum roofs in underneath. And they finally decided to allow that. Because let's face it, if you're out there, okay, it's raining pretty hard, you can sneak in under the existing lanai, but if you want more covered space and not get wet, you got to have an aluminum roof.
Yeah.
And that's just one of the restrictions that we deal with.
Well, it's one of the things, like you spend a lot of money to buy a house, to buy the land, build the house, or if it's a pre-existing home, you buy the home. At a certain point, you got to let common sense prevail. And when homeowners spend that money, they invest that much money, they're paying taxes on it. They should be able to utilize the property within reason, how they want to. That's one of, I think, one of the constitutional rights that we have, as landowners. Now, I understand certain HOAs do have great provisions. Hey, you can't park the RV, the truck, on blocks in the front yard that you're constantly working on.
I'm all about that.
Exactly. So some of those things make sense, but at some point, not allowing people to put a top on their screened enclosure, that sounds like an overreach to me.
It is sort of an overreach. Well, the thinking is, in some communities they'll allow a shingle style roof, so it conforms and it looks the same as a house roof.
Yeah. And
in our industry, there is no correct shingle product designed to go on top of a composite roof. And I say correct because there's a process out there where you can make it happen, and it's really not a great. It's not installed the way that I think it should be installed.
Okay.
So I've never sold one. However, we do have what they call a modified shingle product, which is a rollover shingle that goes right on top of the composite roofs, which works out very well. But it's not a shingle. It's the same color as a shingle. And some of the communities allow that, some don't. But I like the idea of allowing the aluminum composite roof to go in underneath the cage.
Yeah.
It gives them some covered area. Unfortunately, it's a heavy cost factor. It's much more expensive to do that as opposed to building it separately.
I got you.
So we do it.
Yeah. All right. Well, it sounds good. When we come back, more from Fred Muth in studio here. We got Tampa Screens and Aluminum. We got Jay Smith. We're going to get an update from Jay Smith on the real estate market, things happening out there, what he's seeing from a Snoop Inspections point of view, a-snoop.com, and Tampa Screens and Aluminum here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Our feel-good story of the day is a good one as well. Airman pulls over to help elderly woman with her groceries. Find out about that story and more from our expert contributors right here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
This is Chris Voss, former FBI lead hostage negotiator and owner of the Black Swan Group, and you're listening to Consumer Quarterback Show hosted by my friend Brandon Rhymes.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com.
This is the Cannabis Podcast, powered by Trulieve on Radio Influence. It's an inside look and the scientific facts in and around the world of medical cannabis. Now, here is your host, Ian Beckles.
He's a successful entrepreneur, published author, top listing agent, a real estate and finance expert that goes to bat for you every day as a consumer advocate. Your host and the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes. You're listening to the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. Online at consumerqb.com.
All right, welcome back. Thanks for sticking with us. Brandon Rhymes here, your host of the Consumer Quarterback Show, powered by the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. My wife and I own and operate a top team here in the Tampa Bay market, top 1% realtor group in the United States, and we help our sellers maximize the exposure on the sale of their real estate properties. And PlatinumMVPteam.com is our website. Check out all of our listings at PlatinumMVPteam.com. Now, we got a property at Boy Scout Road in Odessa. This is a $2.5 million property that we just listed. Great opportunity. Check out the beautiful pictures, compliments of Fabre Frameworks. You've got a beautiful lake here, 10 acres to build 2 estate-style homes. So 5-acre lots for estate-style homes. Now, the property has been operating as a what do you call it, landscape place there. I forgot the name, like a greenhouse type place. Yeah, so they had, that landscape set up, and what they're doing now is he's breaking it up. You got 2 home sites, 5-acre parcels there, and it's one of the best zip codes in all of Tampa Bay, where you have the highest income per capita in this zip code of Boy Scout Road and Burrell Road, right off of Tarpon Springs Road. So you drive by that if you're in that Odessa area, East Lake, Palm Harbor. You're driving by that all the time. Burrell Road, Odessa, 18150. 2 beautiful properties available for purchase, $2.498 million. Check out PlatinumMVPteam.com, PlatinumMVPteam.com. All of our listings can be found there. All right, we got Jay Smith in the house. Jay Smith, a Snoop inspection. Talking about home inspections. What have you been up to out there, man?
Trying to avoid the raindrops. That's about it.
Yeah.
It's a little easier to keep track of the roof leaks.
Yeah, right. And this is the time when people, they put off that deferred maintenance and they find out the hard way, don't they?
Honestly, sometimes it's tough in the dry season that if it hasn't rained for a while, it kind of disappears. Mm-hmm. And it's not always easy for a home inspector to spot a potential leak. So
yeah,
it's one of the things we get into. Of course, this time of year, it rains every day. So,
yeah.
That's because we're pouring concrete every day. That's the only reason.
When it's raining?
Our fault. Yeah.
Is that what it is?
That's the trigger.
That's the trigger.
Yeah.
Putting you a little bit behind there, Fred?
A little bit behind, yes.
Yeah. When you look at the common misnomers too, that's what I like to talk about a lot of times. It's been a while since we had you on the show. What are some of the common misnomers when you go out there and you're working with that first-time buyer or even that investor sometimes? What are some of the misnomers that people have about inspections and how to properly maintain their home?
Well, especially first-time home buyers, they really don't know what all's involved in maintaining a house. Mm-hmm. We know how hard we work our heating and air conditioning systems here. Some people that are moving down from up north don't realize that roofs don't last as long down in Florida.
Mm-hmm.
They just don't. Up north, if you bought a 25-year shingle, guess what? It typically lasts around 25 years. You can even get 26, 27 years out of it. Down here, you're looking at less than 20 years.
Wow.
It's just not going to last that long. So those expenses will come up quicker. So you have to be prepared.
Yeah.
And it's not just first-time home buyers, all home buyers. And it's even that home buyer that's up north. Well, my roof was 22 years old. I was still able to sell my house and wasn't any big deal. And then we're coming down here and looking at a 18-year-old roof, and I'm telling them this thing's due for a roof, and they're looking at me like, "What do you mean?
Yeah,
it shouldn't be due yet."
Sure.
Sometimes it's a little bit of a shock.
And when it comes to the roof, for lending perspective, and that's another part of the real estate industry, a huge part is, large percentage of the homes that are purchased on a mortgage, whether it's FHA, conventional, VA, different types of loan products. Mm-hmm. But from a home inspection perspective, you're pointing out those factors to the bank as well. In a lot of cases, they have to have, 4 or 5 years of roof life expectancy left. The AC has to have expectancy.
Insurance is a lot different in Florida. People up north don't have to do 4 points, and they don't do wind mitigations for hurricanes. Florida, we do. Mm-hmm. The insurance companies are going to want that 4 or 5 years, and it doesn't matter whether it's a 40-year-old house or a 90-year-old house. They're still looking at the life of the roof, and if that roof life is, and it all depends on what type of roof, but let's just say it's a shingle roof and it's 22 years old, it's going to make the insurance company really nervous. Even if I walk out there and let's say it was an exceptionally well done roof and a good product and the attic is ventilated, superb and everything's great in place, and that roof is actually doing well, sometimes it doesn't matter. The insurance company look, it's over 20 years old. We don't care what you say. We don't care if a roofer goes out there and says it has years of life left into it. And that's not to say you can't get insurance on it, but it may limit the insurance companies that'll jump on that particular product.
Yeah.
They've gotten a little tougher on water heaters these days. I mean, I go out and see a 20-year-old water heater, and typical life is only 8 to 12 years. Well, now you got something that's now lasted twice its life almost. And the insurance company is saying, okay, you know what our biggest problem in the last year has been? Water.
Yep. And
water heaters breaking, pipes breaking, and they're looking at those items and they're saying, well, we're a little bit hesitant about taking care of that.
Yeah.
And of course, unfortunately, we're looking at the seller, which you deal with both sides of the aisle there, and the seller's looking at us, well, I have no problem getting insurance. Well, it's a little easier to maintain your insurance than it is to get new insurance when you're coming into a house first off.
Right. And sometimes you can even assign that policy, can't you, to the buyer or seller? You know, the buyer can assign it.
I actually had a job the other day, and it's a 59-year-old electrical panel. And they're like, well, I have no problem with insurance. Well, if you don't have any, I would highly suggest telling the buyer who your insurance company is, because they're familiar with your house, they'll do something. But I know a lot of other insurance companies would be very, very nervous about a 59-year-old electrical panel being in that house.
Yeah, I want to talk about electrical as well. We're talking with Jay Smith, Snoop Inspection, a-snoop.com. Now, Jay, the electrical panel, this is one of the areas that comes up frequently. What are the concerns? What are people looking at when it comes to electrical?
Well, typical life expectancy is 40 to 50 years, and insurance companies will really get nervous after 50 years. So that one being 59 years old, it can get into a sketchy area. I've had insurance agents call me up and ask me, is that panel actually 58 years old, 56 years old, 50, whatever it is? I'm like, it is. I said, but it's in great shape.
Yeah. Wow.
But, it's just the sheer age. In my reports, I actually start to notate electrical panels at 40 years old. And kind of giving them a heads up, hey, you may want to consider putting this on your remodel list.
Yep.
Because you're going to be approaching getting, from that 40 to 50 year mark. Hey, I'm not telling you have to do it this year, but it's something you want to have your eyes on and be considering doing it in the next 3, 4, 5 years. I live in a condo. And a condo is very rarely messed with an electrical panel. My condo building happens to be 45 years old. Guess what's on my remodel list to replace my panel?
Yeah. Now, what is the concern? Is it the breakers as well? And then, of course, some buildings, some of the older structures, you've got the knob and tube wiring, some of the older types of wiring as well.
Yeah, knob and tubes, about impossible to get done these days. And cloth wiring is the predecessor, right after the knob and tube was around. Both of those are getting more and more difficult every year. And I would never tell anybody you can't get insurance. But it is, are you willing to pay a high amount of insurance dollars just to get it insured?
Yeah. And that's the question. That's where it comes into debt ratio as well. Or can you qualify for the mortgage at that point? That's where it comes in. Now, when it comes to investors, are you working with many investors? What are they looking at?
A few, but not many. Yeah. Honestly, a lot of, I hate to say it this way, but a lot of investors think they know it all.
Yeah, that's true.
And I walk in behind investor houses all the time and have to basically give them a list. Like, you're going to need to do this, this, and this to get this house done. And it could be the roof. It could be electrical problems. It could be anything that they're doing. It's interesting to walk into some investor houses and they haven't even bothered to put in smoke alarms.
Wow.
It's like, hey,
come on.
Do you remember you took it down? You need to put one back. And
wow.
Just things like that kind of surprise you that you can't believe that you're looking at it.
Yeah, and a lot of the investors, if it's behind the walls, it's something that they're not going to worry about. It's only the cosmetic stuff, especially in the kitchen.
Well, I was at a house not too long ago. It was an older home and had a semi-new dryer duct coming out in the laundry closet, but didn't know where it went out. Couldn't find it anywhere. It's like, okay, where's this dryer duct discharging? Do they just have it going in the attic, which is a big no-no. You can't just run your dryer duct into the attic and let it fly.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, that house had no attic access, so I couldn't find where it was.
Interesting. So in that situation, what happens?
Basically put notes in there. We need to verify where it is.
Yeah.
And they have to come up with what's going on.
So it's back on the seller to verify, to prove where it's at.
Yep.
Because you got to run that hot air outside.
And that was for a veteran that's coming back to the area. You can't let this stuff slide. You got to take care of things and get things done. That particular house, unfortunately, also had aluminum wiring, and they hadn't done any of the updates for aluminum wiring as far as putting Lumicons in.
Wow. Yeah. Fred, did you want to say something?
I was just going to say, the old statement is, to an investor, a can of paint's worth $3,000 a gallon.
Yeah.
It's a shame. I mean, it's a true statement. They paint the pig. I mean,
that's right. Slap some lipstick on it. Yeah. You see that happen a lot. All right. Well, good stuff. More from Jay Smith coming up as well. Fred Muth here in studio, tampascreens.com, a-snoop.com. And this segment is brought to you by the Bill Maher Beach Resort, the official hotel partner of the Consumer Quarterback Show. The Bill Maher Beach Resort on beautiful Gulf Boulevard in Treasure Island, filled with fantastic and generous amenities to make your vacation that much more special. The Bill Maher Beach Resort has been one of the most sought after destinations in the Treasure Island area for many years. So whether you're planning a quick business trip or a wedding or a local vacation, it's a great place to go hang out. Say hello to Clyde Smith, general manager at the Bill Maher Beach Resort on Gulf Boulevard in Treasure Island. Let him know the Real Estate Quarterback sent you. When we come back, more from our expert contributors here in studio. Fred Muth's in the house, Jay Smith, the Snoop Dogg, Snoop Inspections, right here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after this short break.
Hey, I'm Ken Shamrock, and you're here with Consumer Quarterback Show. And I say, Brandon Rhymes, knock out your competition.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com.
This is the Cannabis Podcast, powered by True Leaf on Radio Influence. It's an inside look and the scientific facts in and around the world of medical cannabis. Now, here is your host, Ian Beckles.
He's a successful entrepreneur, published author, top listing agent, a real estate and finance expert that goes to bat for you every day as a consumer advocate. Your host and the Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes. You're listening to the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, online at consumerqb.com. Brandon is Tampa Bay's #1 consumer advocate for real estate and financial advice. Call Brandon today at 813-670-7372.
All right, welcome back. Thanks for sticking with us. Brandon Rhymes here, your host of the Consumer Quarterback Show, powered by the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. Big shout out to the Lucky Dill Restaurant, the official restaurant partner of the Consumer Quarterback Show, the Lucky Dill Deli. They've got a deli, New York City bar, Brooklyn Bakery, catering, banquets, and much more. Home of the sandwich that ate Brooklyn, and they got much more than just sandwiches. They've got great entrees, soup, salads, wonderful food, very friendly staff, and a great ambiance over at the Lucky Dill. I love going to hang out after we do our show here. 4606 West Boy Scout Boulevard in Tampa. Online at luckydilldeli.com. They've also got a great location in Palm Harbor as well. Inviting you out to the Tampa Home Show as well this weekend, August 17th and 18th, Saturday and Sunday, 11 to 6, 11 to 5. We're going to be there. We're going to have 2 booths at this event, and it's going to be 333 South Franklin Street. Our friends from Tampa Bay Multimedia, John Gaston and the team, Rob, are going to be there as well. Check them out. They've got a booth over there as well, and it's going to be a great time. East Coast Consumer Shows does a great job. The Tampa Home Show, August 17th and 18th, 11 to 6 and 11 to 5 this Saturday and Sunday. And a couple of hot listings for this segment here. We've got some properties here in Tampa Bay, some vacant land on Gun Highway in Odessa. This is a great opportunity for corner lot. It's a corner lot right at Gun Highway and Racetrack Road. I've got 2.39 acres listed there. Beautiful aerial drone photography. Again, compliments of Fabre Frameworks, our official real estate photography company. And it's prime corner lot, vacant land right there in Odessa. I've got lots of vacant land available. 1401 Seminole Boulevard in Largo comes to mind as well. This is a corner lot, 0.82 acres, MOL, 200 feet of frontage within the city of Largo. Great opportunity for ideal for office, medical, retail, restaurants, goods and services as well at 1401 Seminole Boulevard in Largo. Check out all of our listings at PlatinumMVPTeam.com. Somewhere sunny and 75. All right, so we got Fred Muth in the house, Tampa Screens and Aluminum, Jay Smith, Snoop Inspections, and then collectively, just kind of, with the real estate market where we're at, what do you think is going to be happening soon? There's a lot of talks with the Trump tariffs, the escalation with the trade war, happening. I hear China just devalued their currency again into negative interest rate territory. So, one of the things I'm talking to sellers about when I'm talking to for sale by owners, especially, I told a story yesterday's show about a listing I went to. It was a $980,000 listing for sale by owner that I went out there and I, did the listing appointment, talked to him about the comps, and asked Ray Hall Appraisals on our show here. I asked him, what do you think the value is going to be? He said it's in the 700 range. So the guy's priced almost $300,000 over where he should be priced. So for sale by owner, and then a lot of times I'm trying to educate these for sale by owners not only about values but also about what could potentially happen. If this trade war escalates and things take a turn, there's a lot of money that you're potentially leaving on the table there.
Sure. I mean, money today in your pocket's worth a lot more than money six months down the road. A lot of people miss that concept.
They do.
In our business, what's amazing is with all the talk of the tariff, and yes, the prices have gone up, materials have escalated. We are still running a lot of business. The $8,000 cage today, a year ago, was a $7,000 cage, and people are still buying. However, the real estate market, and I think you'd agree with this, it's not sliding, it's not going down. It's stable, and I believe it's still pulling up a little bit. That's what I see.
Still having values raised, for sure.
And the quarter mil to half mil price range is where it's at. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Yeah, absolutely. And anything less than that, too, is just going to fly off the shelf because there's not much inventory there.
That's right, exactly.
Yep.
So far, we're not experiencing a significant loss at anything at this point. However, I remember 2007. It just fell apart one day.
Yep.
And we're not going to see that. But you don't know when it's going to start to slide.
Yeah.
And everybody, it's speculation on your behalf as well as yours, I'm assuming, right?
Oh yeah, nobody knows.
Speculation. What do you call? What's your call on this?
Yeah, I mean, what I would say is like we know right now we're close to the top. I mean, I think we are. You can with a fair preponderance of the doubt. That we're pretty close to the top of the market. The mortgage rates dipping again about 6 months ago really sealed it for me in terms of my opinion on how I read the market. So when the mortgage rates came down, you talk about the increased buying power. So now a lot of people said, hey, let's get back in it. Let's do it again. Let's buy that second investment property. Maybe, then folks that are in the New York, Philadelphia, those states, they're coming down. So we're going to have and I think the number actually hit 1,400 a day now. Used to be about 1,000 a day people moving.
That high?
Yeah,
Wow.
I think it's like 14 plus per day moving to this area. So we do have that in our favor, but I think at some point we're going to shift. It has to. All markets go up, they come down, and it's basically, I heard it said in Gary Keller's book. He wrote a book called The Market Shift. So if I were to point to a seller and say, okay, tell me when you think the market's going to shift, and I start going like this, and they don't know until I go like this. Until you come down, right? So there's the top, but you don't know until it's passed.
Yeah, if you watch the world events, hey, anything could happen at any minute. It's a very volatile situation out there.
Yeah.
My big concern is what goes on with Iran right now. I think if something happens with Iran, I think we're going to have a significant shift in everything.
Could be.
But then again, how much of that is just a political play? We don't know.
Yeah.
That's the thing. You can't lose sleep over it. Okay,
No.
but you have to forecast
because like you said, it could be tomorrow or it could be 10 years from now. So we can't live every day worrying about what day it's going to be.
Right.
And the whole China and the trade deal, it's not good for either one of us. I mean, they're going to come to some kind of agreement, I believe, before too long. I would say at least before the end of the year, which is still a lot of time.
Yeah.
And who knows what the markets will do once they do come to an agreement. I mean, it could be even nuttier than we are right now.
Right.
Well, yeah. One thing too, when you think about the stock market and you look at quantitative easing, what we've been doing with the dollar, and then you look at some of these false earnings that are, a lot of these companies are reporting these earnings, but are they really that valuable? These overinflated companies. For example, I was just watching a video. There was a gentleman that was being interviewed on one of the major networks, and he was saying how Zillow is one of the most flawed business models that he's ever seen. Think about it. What do they sell? And then how are they making money? They're making money off real estate agents who pay these absorbent amounts of fees to show up as, right next to my listing that I don't pay them a dime. Right. And they show up right here on the side. And they're just getting money from investors, so they're not turning a profit. They're not making money, but people still throw money into that company. That's ridiculous to me.
Well, some of the average consumers, they hang their hat on what they read online, and it's pathetic. Yeah. I'll go to the site to look at the property, and I'll catch the view of the property, the overview, the back, the sides. It's good for that.
The tax records.
The numbers mean nothing to me. I don't even pay attention to the numbers because I know they're off the chart.
Yeah.
Poor Ray Hall.
Ray.
What's he do with us?
Ray, the appraiser. Oh, he's he deals with it all the time. People say, "Well, I just put a new roof on the property. How much do I get for that?" Yeah, right. Ridiculousness. People don't understand it. But yeah. So that's one of the things I like to talk about is where we see things going, and really, and again, the truth is nobody knows. We don't know, but I think in a short term, yes, we're gonna eat a little bit of crow. As they say, we're gonna deal with some hard times potentially, especially in manufacturing, those sectors. But ultimately, I think in the long run, I agree with what Trump's doing. I agree with where we're going. I believe that hey, somebody's got to take the bully on, right? For many years, even growing up as a kid, we'd always hear about China this, China that. Everything's from China. Right. We knew that we had a trade imbalance, and finally, somebody's man enough to do something about it.
I agree with that.
Well, I think it's interesting on how much they're fighting back right now as far as China. Yeah. It just tells you, what are they hiding? How much do they know that they're hiding within the way the system is set up now that they don't want to redo that? Now, unfortunately, no matter what kind of trade deal you get, everyone figures out the loopholes in time. Yes. So it's going to slow them down for a year or two. They're going to figure out a different way to get things done.
Well, they need our soybeans too. I mean, that's a big one. It's what I've read in the journal one time. I was reading this article about the dependence that they have on soybeans for their their pork bellies and the different things that they love. They absolutely love. So I think ultimately we probably have a better upper hand in terms of resources, what we can do with and without versus what they have. So yeah, it's a global economy. There's so many complexities, but yeah, it's like you said earlier, Jay. It's there's that economy out there, but then there's the economy in between your own ears, and that's what we want to address here on this show. It's all about supporting local companies here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. We want you to think about this show as the hub of your financial, your business, your real estate, your mortgage, your title, all those wheels that are extending out, those spokes that are extending out from the hub of that wheel. We want you to think about this show, and we want to connect you to all of our expert contributors. We've got over 80 different categories, 45 plus partners here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. No matter what you're facing, we have those experts that can help you live a better life, avoid commission-based advice that's so prevalent out there. Almost everywhere you look, there's commission breath flowing, and we're going to help you avoid that right here on the Consumer Quarterback Show. That's what we take great pride in. So follow us online at Brandon Rhymes 1 on Instagram and Twitter, the Consumer Quarterback Show page as well, consumerqb.com, and make sure you connect with us. There's lots of ways we can get involved. We've got a great event coming up for our veterans. We're saluting our heroes and veterans on September 12th. We're doing a financial and educational workshop with them. We're going to offer for our veterans, first responders, military, nurses, school teachers, all of those kind of in that service sector. We're offering them financial literacy workshop. We're going to talk about a lot of access that they may have to different benefits that they may not know about. We got Attorney Joe Pippin going to be talking at that, Captain Matt Bruce as well, who has his America's Third Watch on 860, and it's all about helping them and helping you as a consumer advocate. So stay with us right here. When we come back, more from Fred Muth, Tampa Screens and Aluminum, tampascreens.com. Jay Smith, the Snoop Dogg here in studio as well, a-snoop.com, and our feel-good story of the day. Airman pulls over to help elderly woman with her groceries right here on the Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
Thanks for listening to my daddy's show. For more information, go to consumerqb.com.
To get in touch with Brandon, call 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com.
Ian Beckles here with my man.
This is the Cannabis Podcast, powered by True Leaf on Radio Influence. It's an inside look and the scientific facts in and around the world of medical cannabis. Now, here is your host, Ian Beckles.
He's a successful entrepreneur, published author, top listing agent, a real estate and finance expert that goes to bat for you every day as a consumer advocate. Your host and the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes. You're listening to the consumer quarterback, Brandon Rhymes, cutting through your typical media nonsense and offering you a rational and unbiased perspective on current events and life in Tampa Bay. Online at consumerqb.com.
All right, welcome back. Thanks for sticking with us. Brandon Rhymes here, your host of the Consumer Quarterback Show, powered by the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty. This segment is brought to you by WholeBodyFuel.com, the official meal delivery service of the Consumer Quarterback Show, WholeBodyFuel.com. Chef prepared by Chef Brian Adamo and his team, Kevin and the fellows. They do a great job. They deliver this healthy food, convenient, healthy delivered food directly to your home or office. WholeBodyFuel.com. Check them out online. Let them know the Real Estate Quarterback sent you. And every day we're going to tell you something positive here in our feel-good story of the day.
Tell me something good.
All right, so we've got an airman pulls over to help elderly woman with her groceries. An airman's act of kindness was caught on camera, and the video is now going viral on social media. Amber Roy shared the video, which was taken on Interstate in Oklahoma near Tinker Air Force Base. Quote, this airman just pulled over to help this elderly lady walking with her groceries in 101-degree weather and took her to her destination, Amber wrote on Facebook. And, quote, OMG, my heart is melting. There is good people left in this world. God bless you, Airman. Amber's video has more than 2 million views, over 65,000 shares. According to Tinker Air Force Base, the airman is a member of the 552nd Air Control Wing. So pretty cool story in our Feel Good segment every day. We love telling you something positive there in our Feel Good story. And let's jump right into our lightning round. We got Tampa Screens in the house. Fred Muth, a.k.a. the Screen Man, the Tin Man.
Well, let's thank that airman for his service.
Yes.
My heart goes out to these guys. And
yeah, it really does.
Anyway, back to the screen enclosure business, whether it's a screen enclosure, a roof, an add-on addition, whatever it is, my suggestion to anybody out there, all the consumers, ask a lot of questions. Even if you feel as though you're being redundant, you're aggravating the representative, don't worry about it. Ask a lot of questions. A good representative should and will appreciate the questions. And I do as well. I look forward to it. I know if the questions are asked before the project commences, we've covered everything. There's nothing worse in the construction business than having a big surprise on the back end.
Yes, exactly.
And
yeah, almost any business. That's a universal. I remember back in the mortgage days, it was, you always want to, underestimate and over deliver. Here's what I think we can do, and you come back with a quarter point better, and hey, I got you a better rate. This is how we're going to do business.
Yeah,
so.
I mean, what we're selling is hypothetical. It's not there yet. It's a product that's it's not built yet. And of course, there's a couple ways to bid it. You can bid it with the Murphy's Law in mind, or the Perfect World Society. Either way, you're going to either be over or under. So and that really has nothing to do with the questions. But I recently have walked up to people and they have lists, and I love this because I'm the third guy in there, and of course they've incorporated their list from what they heard from the other two, representatives from other companies. I love being the third guy in. They ask the questions, I've got the answers. If I don't have the answer, I'll get the answer.
Nice.
That's
I like
the way
that.
to do it.
All right. Tampa Screens and Aluminum. Jay Smith, Snoop Inspections. Top tips.
Top tips? Well, actually, I wanted to make a statement. My father's, he's been in his house for several years now, and that 30-year-old Train AC finally went kaput last week.
Wow.
And he had to put a new one in, but it lasted 30 years.
Wow, that was a classic.
Yeah,
that's a good one, man.
Keep it around. But, my father's a veteran. He was in the Navy, and we've been doing a $50 discount for any of the veterans, police, fire department out there for any full inspections that are done.
First responders.
Yeah. So awesome. A $50 discount on your home inspection. Average inspection is $300, and now you're getting it for $250.
Yeah.
I mean, it's hard to beat that.
Well, thanks for doing that for our veterans out there, Jay. We appreciate that. One thing we do with our company as well, the Platinum MVP team at Keller Williams Realty, is we offer a quarter to a half a point discount to our veterans as well, whether buying, selling, or investing. That's something else that we extend to them. And we love doing it. My dad was an MP in the military, and he passed when I was around 10 years old. So, that's these guys make their ultimate sacrifice in a lot of ways and a lot of times. And in recent years, the respect respect factor has not been there as well. You see that kind of eroding in some circles, but around here we love them, we care for them, and we're doing things. We're putting our money where our mouth is and making sure we do events as well to help them. So we got that event coming up on September 12th. It's going to be at the American Legion in South Tampa here, post number 5 on Kennedy Boulevard in Del Mabry. So anybody you know out there, have them reach out, consumerqb.com. Hit us up on the website, consumerqb.com, or call 813-670-7372. Give us a call or a text on our hotline, 813-670-7372. All right, so a little negotiation strategy here is my latest. I love negotiation, teaching a lot about that at the GTAR and Pro, and giving a shout out to Chris Voss, Never Split the Difference as well. He talks about the use of calibrated questions, the power of open-ended questions, aka calibrated questions, because they're calibrated because you're sighting it in like you would use to sight in a gun. You're going to use calibrated questions to move your counterpart where you want them to go in the direction. And also, one of the major factors of calibrated questions is that you are creating the illusion of control. So the next time you get into an argument or you have a situation where things are getting heated, think about how you can utilize open-ended questions. So what you want to do is summarize the situation. It seems you feel this way. You're using labels, you're using mirrors, and you do a summarization of the situation. And then you ask calmly, how am I supposed to do that? And then what happens is, in their mind, they're thinking, you're making them, or you're allowing them to come up with a solution to your problem, right? How am I supposed to do that? And when you do that, you want to use softening words throughout the process. You want to use softening words like perhaps and maybe, or it seems. And when you do that, it takes the anger out. It takes the passion out of the situation. And the beauty of open-ended calibrated questions is that it allows you to introduce ideas and requests without sounding pushy or rigid. And the other idea is that you're not giving them as a statement. If you were to say a statement like you're doing this or you're doing that, a statement, it's going to give them something to target. So they're going to target that statement and say, oh, well, you said this. But if you do it properly, if you're using an open-ended question, you're not really putting yourself on a limb that way. So open-ended questions, and is that they offer no target for attack. Calibrated questions have the power of educating your counterpart on what the problem is, rather than creating conflict by telling them what the problem is. So you're asking for help, you're giving them the illusion of control, and it allows you to transform a confrontational showdown into a mutual working towards to agreement. So it's giving them the illusion of control. So those calibrated questions are very important in your negotiation strategy. And then when you ask a question, what do? You have to listen, right? So you want to utilize tactical empathy, is what Voss talks about, is so important to listen to the underlying message of what your counterpart is talking about. All right, we got another couple minutes here. Let's go around the horn again. We got Fred Muth in the house, the Tin Man here.
You talk about negotiating. It's funny, when you get up in the morning, you negotiate with yourself, you get your coffee, you negotiate with your wife, you negotiate with your pets, and then you go out and you negotiate with your customers.
Yeah.
It's all day long.
Every day, all day.
So I think I need to learn a little more. Maybe I'm not negotiating as well.
Yeah.
What do you think?
Hey, I think you do a great job, Brad.
Oh, okay. Thank you. I just want to hear that.
Yeah.
Anyhow, thanks again for having me on this show. This show, I didn't mention it last time I was on. I should have. But I'll walk into a customer's house and they'll be ready to go with the contract, because they've heard the show, they've heard me on the show, they've heard our other guy Chris on the show.
Chris Hatfield.
He's tremendous.
He does a great job too. Yeah.
Well, he's got the voice, got the radio voice.
Yeah.
I'm a little monotone. He's up and down. Boy, I listen to him. I say, gee, I wish I could get that, that high and that low.
You do a great job, pitch. Fred.
Yeah. Well, thank you. It's a great show, and
appreciate that.
I enjoy working with you as well, Snoop.
Good. It's good to see you. I mean, it's been a little while. I haven't been on the show all summer long, so
it's okay.
It's nice to get back on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it is. And then the idea too, kind of on your point, is that with real estate, it's so competitive. All the different industries, it's so competitive. So it's nice to have something where, a lot of times I'll make that first call as a for sale by owner or an expired, and then we'll set up a second call or an appointment, and then they'll do research. They'll go online. Everybody goes to Google. They go to YouTube. They look you up, and that's where they find this consumer advocate based program. It's all about helping people. It's all about being that consumer advocate with non-commission based advice. And that's what we do here.
Yeah, and your business for sale by owner, that's a great lead for you because
Absolutely.
It's a tough call to try to sell your property. You need an expert.
Yeah, absolutely. And I love just, making contact with them, educating them about the market. I say, I have my market stats right there. I say, by the way, would you like to know how many houses sold between $500,000 and $599,000 in Pinellas County? Sure, go ahead and tell me. And then when I do, it'll be something like 485 properties were listed. Now, out of those 485 properties that were listed, how many do you think sold? And they always are optimistic. Almost every time they say, probably around 300 and something. I say, no, actually only 84 sold, or only 90. I'm just pulling numbers out of my head right now. But, the point is it's only about, 20 to 30%, just depending on the price point. But as you mentioned earlier, Fred, the higher you go up that price point, the less that sell.
That's a fact.
Yeah.
Takes a little longer.
Takes a little longer, and the days on the market and the whole thing. So, hey, another great show. I want to thank Fred Muth, Jay Smith, A Snoop Inspection, all of our producers behind the scenes putting this show together, and all of our listeners and viewers out there on our TV show. Follow us online at Brandon Rhymes 1 on Instagram and Twitter, and please go out there and consider committing a random act of kindness. We'll see you next time. Consumer Quarterback Show, consumerqb.com.
You've been listening to The Consumer Quarterback, Brandon Rhymes. Whether it's real estate, consumer, or financial advice, let Brandon call your next play. Contact Brandon Rhymes at 813-670-7372. That's 813-670-7372. Online at consumerqb.com. And join us next time for the Consumer Quarterback Show, weekday afternoons at 5 on AM 1380.
Are you a real estate agent looking to take your business to the next level and supercharge your marketing? Hi, I'm Brandon Rhymes, owner of Platinum MVP Realty and host of the Real Estate Quarterback Show, syndicated radio and TV show talk program on iHeartRadio, 1025 The Bone, daily 5 o'clock drive time on 1380 The Biz, and our TV show is on WeBeam TV. We're looking for real estate agents that want to join our team and supercharge their marketing utilizing some of our innovative strategies. We utilize the Real Geeks platform, Facebook marketing, internet marketing, and a lot of the traditional methods as well. Postcard mailers mailed for you, postage, signage, business cards, all paid for by the company. Aggressive real estate splits and ways to help you win in any marketplace. We need you to go out, take applications, and work our plethora of leads that we're generating on a daily basis. Reach out by clicking the form below, and we'd love to have a confidential interview with you.